Here, this is what happened. Myself and 5 friends from university decided to go on a camping trip the week after we were done with school. Go out to the remote PA wilds with 3 canoes. Plan is to start at Point A, travel along river, camp out each night, unless we decide to spend more than 1 night at a certain spot, and then end up at Point B in 4 days. Then stash the canoes and hike to Point C to get to the car and drive back to Point B to pick up the canoes. Anon and myself are both moderately experienced and plan everything out. Everyone else has pretty decent experience, except for one guy who has not been out like this in his whole entire life. First day on the river, 1 canoe, 2 guys, gets behind us considerably and disappears. Get into our spot at the tributary of the main river. It is almost dark, and still no sign of the other guys. We had 3 walkie-talkies between us, 1 in each canoe, in case we got split up. Remember this, and turn one of the damn things on. Experienced Anon and first time Anon are on, and just starting to panic when we finally remembered the radios and responded. Turns out, they took a wrong turn and ended up in a different tributary. They are basically over a very small mountain from us, and it is too late in the day to meet back up. We say fuck it, and that we will meet up in the morning. We will just wait for them here in the next tributary. Turn off radios so that we don't waste any battery unnecessarily. Most of our tent and tarp supplies were in the missing canoe, so we decided we were sleeping under the stars. Being that we were fucking stupid kids, we brought as much booze and weed as we could buy. Despite the mix-up that day, we decided to still get trashed before we go to sleep. Start smoking once we get a fire going. At about 9 p.m., hippie friend breaks out some datura. Hippie friend and I both decide to trip because why the fuck not? We are stupid after all. Other 2 friends decide to babysit, but they both get belligerently drunk in the meantime. One drunk friend passes the fuck out at about 11 a.m. Drunk friend number 2 just chills and plays guitar, while hippie friend and I freak the fuck out because we did shrooms for the first time on a fucking camping trip in the deep wilderness. I never claimed to be a smart man. I don't know what the fuck I ended up doing for the rest of the night, but according to drunk guitar friend, I spent 30 minutes fiddling with my sleeping bag, and then laid on top of it, and then just looked around for the remainder of the night. I just remember being very, very scared. Drunk friend number 1, who passed out first, wakes me up violently early in the morning. Drunk guitar friend and hippie friend are gone. Not sure how to go about telling this because none of it came together until afterwards when we all met up. So I will just skip their experiences and I will tell you what happened to us. Later, we found out that hippie friend had to shit at some point in the night and started walking off without telling anyone, still tripping balls. Guitar friend woke up to see that hippie friend was gone, but we could hear him cracking branches up the hill. Guitar friend tries to tell us that he is going, but we are both passed the fuck out. He goes off to find hippie friend, but is never able to figure out where the sound is coming from, and hippie friend won't respond to him yelling either, because he is either too scared, or because he is deep in zombie mode. Hippie guy and guitar guy both managed to get lost, separately, and fall asleep, lying on the fucking ground. So, back to Anon and I. We don't know what the fuck happened to either of them, and they left their radio and all of their supplies. Anon and myself start to seriously freak the fuck out. We get on our radio and see if we can get a hold of the other canoe that was supposed to come into our camp that morning. We can't get anything on the walkie-talkie except weird static and muffled voices that might be them. Really start to panic. There was bad early morning fog. You could not see 50 yards in the woods. On the river it's way worse. Anon and I talk and figure that the third canoe guys probably went by and missed our inlet because of the fog and ended up getting out of radio range before they knew it. We go looking for guitar and hippie friend, but they are nowhere nearby. The fog is making it impossible to find anything, and we are afraid of getting ourselves. We go back to camp, and our shit has been fucked up, presumably by a bear. Everything that had food inside of it is fucking trashed, and my hatchet is missing, even though I was 100% sure it was there when we woke up. This is especially weird, because bears never fuck with your shit during daylight. At this point, we are not only freaking out about our missing friends, we are starting to get creeped out by the circumstances. Wake up next morning after shitstorm of a night. Fog still thick, can't see anything past 30 yards. Hippie friend and guitar friend are still missing. Food is gone. Bear or something ransacked our packs. Still can't find my hatchet, even though I know where I left it. Anon and I are cold, hungry, anxious, and trying not to freak out. We keep calling on the walkie for the other guys or the missing friends. Just more garbled static and what sounds like voices, but no clear words. Start to wonder if it is just radio interference or our own minds playing tricks on us. Eventually, we decide that we have no choice but to move on downriver, pack what little we have left, and load up the canoe. Neither of us really says it, but we are both thinking we might never see the others ever again. River is dead silent, fog hugging the surface like it's alive. Every once in a while, we swear we hear something splashing behind us, but nothing is there. Midday comes. Fog finally starts burning off. Hear the faint buzz of a walkie. Then an actual voice comes through. Hello? Please. Recognize the voice. It's guitar friend. He is whispering. Sounds scared out of his mind. He keeps asking where he is. Tell him we're on the river and need a landmark. He just keeps repeating, don't follow the lights. Static takes over again. Total silence. Anon and I look at each other, both too freaked to say anything at all. No more contact all day. Decide to set up camp early before it gets dark. No tent, just a fire and a tarp between trees. That night is cold and dead quiet. Neither of us sleep. Anon swears he saw someone standing on the opposite bank just for a second, but it could have been shadows or fog or nothing. Next morning, we keep going. Eventually, we see the other canoe pulled up at the agreed upon checkpoint. The two guys are there. Look like they've been through hell too. They start shouting and running over when they see us. Apparently, they got completely lost in the fog and ended up spending a night stranded on an island downriver. They thought we were the missing ones. Nobody has seen guitar friend or hippie guy. We explain everything. Radio static, the voice, the fog, the food, the missing hatchet. They say their walkie never picked up anything at all. At this point, we are all kind of at a loss, but we stick to the plan and hike to the car. On the hike, we finally get cell service and call for help. Rescue team starts searching immediately, with our coordinates and rough area. Takes them 2 days, but they find hippie guy. He is about 7 miles off course, dehydrated, scraped up, and missing a shoe. Completely out of it. Does not remember most of what happened. Says he kept following someone through the trees who he thought was guitar friend, but every time he got close, they would disappear into the fog. Search for guitar guy goes on for another week. Nothing. No trail, no gear, no body, no signal. Local ranger tells us flatly it is not uncommon for people to just vanish in those woods. They call it getting turned around. Sometimes it's hypothermia, sometimes it's wildlife, and sometimes just the forest. Weeks later, after we are all back up, I find my hatchet. It is in the middle of the car, under a pile of unused gear. I never put it there. None of us did. We don't talk about that trip anymore. We've never really stayed friends after that. Give me that, we'll never say. Don't blame them. Alright, first of all, I am Dutch, and here is my story, so I'm sorry about any grammar and spelling errors. Be me, a Dutch guy, 25 years old, used to race cars and had to race at Circuit Assen. As my mom is a photographer and wanted to make photos of me racing, we decided to stay at a holiday park / campsite in a small town called Watering, as we live on the other side of the country. So, we packed and went to Watering. Me, my mom, and our dog. First thing we did when we got there was take a walk through Drins Friese Wold. This is a forest. During this time, it had snowed prior, and the snow had melted and then frozen again, so it was a bit watery / icy. As we went deeper into the woods, I remember making a remark about animal tracks, deer tracks to be exact. But these tracks were bigger than the ones I usually found in the dunes near the coastal town I lived. Anyway, I thought nothing of it, and although never seeing a deer, I never stood still. It might be something else, simply because no one ever mentioned cryptids or mythical beings in the Netherlands. We Dutch are too down to earth for these kinds of things, I think. Boy, was I wrong. I went to sleep early that night, as I had a race coming up the next day. But I woke up at around 12:45 in the morning to a weird faint sound far off in the distance. I cannot really describe it other than hyena-like but different. It sounded like a book call being interrupted. The interruption made it sound like a hyena's laugh. Definitely weird, but I fell asleep again. So, the race went crap, and I ended up 12 of 24 participants. We went home, and I went in the woods with Dog. Usually, Dog likes to walk, but this time, she wanted to go back. I figured she just missed my mom, and this being a new surrounding, and with all of the cold, frozen snow on her feet, she was not in the mood for a walk. So, we head back to our house. We went off the trail and had a good 15-minute walk ahead of us when I noticed a foul smell. It smelled like someone who exercised without showering afterwards, but instead smearing himself with mud. It smelled really earth-like or nature-like, but fouler, like rotting plant matter in a stagnant pond. Again, I thought it actually was a pond or puddle, so paid no attention to it. Almost immediately after smelling it, it started snowing. It made it hard to see more than 50 meters. Dog starts pulling on the leash more and more, so I look back. I can just see the outline of buck antlers. Scared that it might attack, I start walking faster. Dog gets even more scared and starts panting and pulling on the leash more. When we get to the entrance of the park where we were staying, I look back. I can still see an outline of the antlers if I squint my eyes and do my best to focus. Think nothing of it, and tell myself it was a deer that I have heard last night, so I decided fuck it, I am going to go look for that deer. Maybe it's hurt, and has a noose or something around its neck that started to get infected. Might explain the cackling and the smell, or so I thought. Brought my spider cone knife to cut it off if that was the case. Told Mom I was going for a jog, and head out in the woods in the direction of the sound I heard. After walking in a snowy landscape, only illuminated by the moon, I noticed the smell again. I tried to be quiet, but the freshly fallen snow made it hard to cover the sound of my footsteps. Made my way to some bushes, and I see the deer in the distance. It was looking at me, without moving, with black eyes and a dead stare. I noticed something was off. The sides of his face, his cheeks looked like they had been ripped open to where the jaw is connected. He is truly dark, messy shit. It is a living thing, as I see his breath in this cold weather. Suddenly, it raises his head in the air and starts a cackling laughter. Before I know what is going on, this thing starts moving towards my direction. I don't hesitate for a moment and start booking it. Now, while running, I hear its footsteps in the snow besides my own. At this point, I am shitting my pants. While running, I notice something in the corner of my eye, so I look. This thing is running beside me. I got a closer look now. Its antlers are big, bigger than any deers I have seen. They also have leaves growing on them or stuck to it. The head is that of a deer, but like I said, its cheeks are ripped open. The head is the shape of a deer skull, but with a thin layer of skin on it. I also notice its front legs resemble hands. Not human-like hands, but as if a bone was broken and sticking out of the skin. I could not see the other fingers. Front legs were also muscular. I finally make it to the entrance of the park somehow. It was easy to find, as it was the only light in the darkness. When I cross the barrier, I look back and see the fucker stand up on its hind legs all of a sudden. It cackles one last time while walking a short distance on its hind legs. It walks like a toddler with a hunchback who just shit his pants. It walks a short distance before dropping on all fours and running away. I went to our house. My mom told me she heard something. I reassured her it was nothing and went to bed. I did not sleep that night. Went home the day after. Never told anyone because the Dutch are dense-minded dumb fucks who don't believe anything, so I kept my mouth shut. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories. I was about 7 years old, my brother about 10. It was well past our bedtime when our mom woke up off the couch to put us to bed. Our dad worked construction out of town back then, so it was often just us three at the house for weeks at a time. Up the stairs, and to the immediate right, was our parents' bedroom. Going left put you in the middle of a hallway. Taking another left down that hallway led to my brother's room. The opposite end was my room, which was also across the hall from our upstairs bathroom. At either end of the hallway are window doors we always kept locked and rarely used. The door on my end led to a balcony overlooking our front yard, and the door on my brother's end opened to our back porch. The house kinda leans into a small hill. My brother and mom both had a habit of waking up in the bathroom. I only knew this because I was always a light sleeper, and they just could not help flushing with the door wide open. This night, however, my brother stopped on his way to his room and came back towards the bathroom. I'm gonna try to pee before I go to bed. The past few nights I've been too afraid to walk to the bathroom. I keep seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of the hallway. I don't know if my mom wrote it off as my brother telling ghost stories to try to scare me, or if she was already half asleep and did not catch it, but she did not react at all to my brother's confession. I, on the other hand, was terrified by it. The fear of seeing a ghost like that at the end of the hallway or through the window is the reason I started running from the stairs to my bedroom at night. Years later, when I was about 18, my mom and I were having a conversation in her car about a dog we had for a very short time when I was little. We were sharing stories about Max's tendency towards destroying my shoes and other unruly behaviors when my mom brought it out. Do you remember that time I opened the front door for the cops and Max went inside to the kitchen and started tearing open that big bag of dog food we had? This really caught me by surprise, because in all the years I lived in that house, we never once called the cops. Gun owner family in a quiet, rural, WV neighborhood, etc. I asked her what she was talking about, and she looked equally as surprised, as if she had just revealed something by accident. Oh, that's right. I never told you because you were too young at the time. One night, I woke up hearing noises outside my window, and when I looked, I saw a man staring into my bathroom. She went on to describe how turning on the lights caused him to take off running, and how she grabbed my dad's pistol before calling the cops. I can't remember all the details I gave them when they showed up. Tall white male, wearing a striped shirt and jeans, short black hair, something like that. They said it matched the description of a man they were looking for in the area. It turns out, he had escaped from jail on a murder charge. Now, I know it sounds so obvious hearing those two stories back to back, but it wasn't until a few years ago, in my mid-20s, that I pieced together that my brother had unknowingly warned us about a murderer who spent multiple nights casing our home. Ah, hell. I guess I will go ahead and share. The first one I put more stake in, simply because I could not really explain it. Have a wonderful home life and family my entire childhood, including grandparents that spoiled me and my mother absolutely rotten. Almost every single year since birth, they would take us to the same campground in Grandpa's RV for vacation during the summer. Some of the happiest times of my life, genuinely. Getting teary typing this. Last time we ever went, me, my brother, both grandparents, was summer of 2015, and I somehow knew the day we left the campground in 2015 that it would be. I remember walking out to ask Grandpa if he needed help in hooking the sewage and electrical, getting the car on a trailer, that type of thing. As I watched him bent over, fooling with the trailer head, this bizarre feeling just completely overcame me. It was like some bittersweet contentment that was nostalgic, sad, and thankful all at once. This will be the last time we'll come here, popped into my head, as if someone spoke it to me. Whatever weird feeling it was, lasted 10 to 20 seconds. Almost felt like I was high or something. The sunlight looked brighter, and I just had this guilty feeling about me. The feeling passed, and my grandpa did not need my help, so I go back inside, and resume playing the DS port of Chrono Trigger, and we go on our way that day. Fast forward life. Brother moved out and went to college that fall. We'll go on to only visit a couple times a year from then on to this day. I entered a super toxic relationship that December and started grad school in January, so there went my free time as well. No longer in relationship, don't worry. Grandpa developed health problems in 2017 and eventually passed away in 2019. Family has not been the same since. 2015 was indeed the last summer vacation with Mama and Papa, and I somehow knew that ahead of time. Next one is spooky, but could be explained by an animal probably. 2012/2015ish, still living at home with my parents. Live in a very rural, unincorporated county in West Virginia. So rural, we don't have any traffic lights, and the nearest Walmart is over an hour away. Always heard stories of devil dogs and werewolf-esque bullshit about our community, none of which I particularly believe, but it is a fun thought for a hole-in-the-wall community with nothing exciting going on. I am outside one night, feeding the dog. Quick geography time. Parents' house is up on a hill, about 80 yards away from the main road. Behind the house is a sheer wooded mountain. That is where I was feeding the dog. That said, I could not see anywhere in front of the house as I was behind it. Hear what I can describe as a mix between an owl and a dog down by the main road. Huh, cool animal. Hear the same sound again, but somewhat closer. Huh, cool animal. Hear it again, and this time it is very clearly somewhere in the yard. Animal? I hear it one last time, and it is literally just on the other side of the house. Take dog and nope inside. Don't tell anyone, because Dad probably would have just called me a little bitch for being scared of owls. It probably was just an owl or some shit, but I have heard them before, and this was not it. It also cleared an outrageous distance within 5 to 7 seconds, all the while screeching like a weirdo. So, I don't know. Likely perfectly explainable by some local fauna, but it is honestly the only remotely spooky thing I've ever had happen to me. Be me, helping my old man, trucker, with a load of sod that night. Heading out from Vegas around midnight to Green Valley Sod near State Line to pick up sod. Stop on Winding Road near State Line. Fuck, gotta piss. Hop out. Walk a ways behind flatbed. Piss. Go to bed. See something out of the corner of my eye. Try to look, but keep walking to avert my eyes. Keep looking. Feel slightly nauseous. Turn around. Buck is gone. What the fuck, man? Weirded out, because I know my old man would not have just left me on the road like that. Start walking around, in the general direction of where the truck was. Still nauseous, getting worse. Walk about a mile, really creeped out. Nausea getting worse the further I go. Dizzy as fuck now too. Finally pass out. Wake up. It's nearly dawn. I'm in an ambulance. What the fuck happened? Apparently, my old man went to check on me when I did not come back. Could not find me, so he called the police. My face went. They found me, passed out, half a mile ahead of the truck. 6 years later, after I served in the Navy, some friends of mine were fucking around on Vermont Street. There is an old woman with some hokey looking wagon that does tarot readings and shit. So, being a few pints of muldrough in and a WMDH, we decided to have some fun with the woman and get some readings done. She gets to me, and third card in, tells me I had some encounter with the Fae in the past. So now, I am curious and ask her to explain. 20 minutes later, I am enraptured, asking about how a person would know when they are around and shit. Tells me I had accidentally stumbled into the world, and apparently they decided to push me out, and that I was lucky. Creepy as shit, the woman was almost dead on, without me telling her anything about that night. I have got a ghost story that I have yet to tell on here. Be me, 19 years old, semester at university ended. During the semester, Mom finds a new place to move with brother, sister, and her husband, one city over. Decent place, much better than the double wide she had. There was a nasty basement with 2 rooms. Left one as a hangout den where they would get high. Right was a closet, and along the wall was a laundry area. One corner of a cement stairway. The whole area was like 10 feet by 20 feet. Mom, still being a shitty parent, lets me stay under the stairway, even air mattress, like I'm fucking Harry Potter. Fuck you, mother. There is a reason I still don't talk to her. Later that evening, I am browsing a spooky 4chan friend. Go to bed with that paranormal feeling of looking at the street story at 2 a.m. I'm dreaming, but I am in this basement. Walls have a bit of a pull. Feels like I took mushrooms. I hear a creaking upstairs, and a little girl with a ponytail walks in front of me, goes into the den room. She says, "Find me," then she falls through the floor. I look up, confused as fuck, and chuckled, but I managed to go back to sleep. The next day, I go and check out the room, and underneath the rug is a huge 5-foot diameter spot that has been sealed up by concrete. She only lived there for 8 months. I went to stay at grandmother's after a couple weeks, and nothing else spooky happened with my brother and sister. But when my grandmother came to pick me up, she did say she felt uneasy about the house. She never walked inside the place ever. Well, I guess there's a fucking corpse in the basement. I'm an old guy. This happened in 1989, when I was just a kid. One of the last days before winter break. School lets out. It begins to snow. It never snows here. Excess. Everyone is excited. Me and a bunch of other kids usually walk home together. We take a shortcut for a field. None of us has ever seen snow in real life. We are all walking with our heads tilted back, catching snowflakes on our tongues, laughing. Then one of us yells out, "Hey." We all look at him, and he says, "Someone just grabbed me." We laugh at him. There is nobody around but us. What's he even talking about? Keep going, still catching snowflakes on our tongues. Laughing again, but the same kid makes a panicked sound. Then he takes off running. For some reason, we all take off after him. Not sure about the others, but the panicked sound he made me scared. I am nervously running after the kid, but he is fast and way ahead of us now. We hear him yell, "Let me go." There is nobody anywhere near him, but he sounds like he is freaking out. Then I see him trip. He falls really unnaturally, slips over to his right into a bayou that runs through the field. Holy fuck. We all run towards where he fell. He is down at the bottom, not moving. Blood starts pooling all around his head. We all flip out, race home, and tell our parents what happened. The kid did not make it. For years, all I remembered was the sight of this kid falling into the bayou. But later, I remembered how weird he was acting before. Like I said, I'm an old guy, but the way he yelled, "Let go of me," was the most panicked shit I've ever heard to this day.
This is what I love to do. I don't feel like I can do it. But it's always had a wonderful life. I got to be children. I got to live the life of my dreams. My dad's to do it. I don't have children. And I really contacted, I think I wrote to my story, taking in people throughout the world to sometimes say to me, problems that other people think that these matters are happening. And I mean, I feel like it's